Hello, hello. My name is Daniel Young. I'm the owner and founder of Adaptive Perspective. And as I was prepping this video, there were several options of memes, but I wanted to start with this one quite simply because it was the easiest to break down. And on a night where I am, to be honest, short with time because of my own poor time management, um, yeah, I'm going to try to keep it simple. So I do these videos because I believe it's my purpose to help you identify your dreams and help you reach your financial freedom destination and maintain it so you can pass your wealth off to the next generation. And in doing that and in helping you reach your financial freedom destination, there's all this, I gotta admit, there's all this mostly crappy advice online. And I get this videos online, and I don't put my own stuff as crappy, but it is online. So it falls under that overall umbrella. But you have to be diligent. You have to pay attention to the memes you see. You have to pay attention to the advice you get and see that if it's really good advice. And if it's advice, if it's great advice, great, you take it, or you modify it to fit your needs. And if it's bad advice, then you pass it up. The problem is there's all this bad advice cloaked in these friendly memes that look good or they look pretty. But when you really start to look at it, it really is just bad advice. So before I get to the meme, just remember this is an unedited video. Who knows what you'll hear in the background as I film these in my house. I mean, the landline just went off with some other spam call. So I have no plans of showing our closed-in fund system, but if I do, for whatever random reason, show that today, then I'll briefly go into that. That's not my goal right now. Um, all the disclaimers will be in the description box, but the biggest one is I am not a financial advisor. I'm a financial strategist. Um, and then yeah, again, this is not a closed-end fund review. It's how to filter out all the crappy memes or all how to filter out all the financial memes that we see and don't realize that are crap right off the bat, but really how to figure that out. And my goal is not to outright trash people. I'm just going to use our lens to call out crap and bad advice. And my goal isn't to slander anybody, but I mean, the truth is we all want good advice and we all don't want bad advice. And you need to realize what's good and bad for you. So without a script, let's get into this. So this is off of my Pinterest page. And if you look for my Pinterest page, you'll see this image, which is pretty much the same background you find on YouTube. It's the same background you find on Facebook. And when you see my boards, these are all my boards, but we're going off of this one here, this income memes. And if you scroll toward the bottom, you'll find this one, maybe 3 rows up from the bottom. And you see my general content here, right? So it's a nothing burger meme. It looks cool. I mean, black and white or black, white, and blue, that took some time to make. But it lacks content. The math doesn't add up. It's really just random advice. So it's, do you want to become a millionaire? Or do you want to become a multimillionaire? Most people would say, sure. How? Well, you need to invest in, per this meme, you need to invest at least 10% of your income in yourself. What exactly does that mean? Because here it says invest at least 80% of your time into learning. But learning what? I would assume learning a skill or learning a trade or learning something where you can make more money. So that gives you a 10% gray area between the two. That's plus or minus. So if you're investing at least 10% of your income into you, so could that be your pleasure, right? Your hobbies, your pursuits. But you could also argue that that also accounts for the 80% into your learning. That leaves 10% for your bills. So all the utilities, the gas, house, rent, I mean, the general advice on homes is that your mortgage is less than 20% of your take home. So just by that base minimum standard, those numbers are off. If you're making $4 grand a month, then your rent would be 400 a month. based on these standards. So the math doesn't add up. Um, it's got these blue words scattered to make it look different than just white letters on a black background. So it looks neat, but doesn't really say anything. So you don't work for money, you work to learn. True, that's what Kiyosaki says. I mean, it helps you learn best and appreciate growth when you're not actually working for money. But if you circle back to the first two, you're investing at least 10% of your income, which is not exactly profit, but that's how we accord it or relate it for personal stuff. So if you're not working for money, then you don't have money for the first two options. Um, if you're learning a new skill, then that would mean you're still in your full-time job and you're learning a new skill that might not pay you automatically, but the goal would be to get paid eventually. But that doesn't compute with this advice. Learn to create more value. Correct. Everybody wants more value. All of that's going to depend on whatever you're trying to pursue. Shift your motivation from getting to giving. That's Chris Crohn's thing. And that's, I mean, honestly, that's ours as well. If you're in it to just gain more and more and more is never enough. If you're in it to help people, if you're in it to figure out how you can give more, then you're in it to make more. But the making is not the actual. It's not the pursuit of acquisition where it's never enough. It's what can I now do with this more with additional money. Um, Acknowledge how dependent you are upon other people. I don't understand the perspective. I can I can guess the perspective. Like if you're living in your parents' basement, free, then that makes you pretty dependent on somebody else. If you're sharing rent, if you're a 3-bedroom duplex and renting one of the rooms, then that makes you dependent on the other two people to make your rent. But dependence upon other people is not a bad thing. Um, it just depends. It's individually dependent upon how you're actually using the system, one, but also how you're leveraging your resources to improve your life. The 10x stuff is Grant Cardone. So it's create win-win strategic partnerships to achieve 10x or 100x goals. That sounds really catchy. That sounds really creative in linguistic terms. But honestly, what the hell does that mean? Partnership would be that you're in a group of people, one or, not just you, so two or more. Partnerships are all investing into a system at the benefit of all. You want a win-win. So if it's 50-50, you're on the same page. We watched a Shark Tank maybe 3 weeks ago where the founder of the company had put in 10 grand and his business partner had put in 50 grand and they were equal partners. And who knows how their partnership is set up, in their contractual arrangement. But an idea in 10 grand doesn't quite seem equal to a guy who benefited from your system and is your sole advertisement for your metric or your measurement, and who also gave you 50 grand. That seems very imbalanced. That you're both winning if it works, but you're not both winning equally. So win-win would be everybody gains the same thing. You have to get really good at marketing. Yes and no. If you're marketing you, then you have to get better. And your ability to get better and adapt and grow yourself and figure out what works will get better over time. If you're doing impersonal stuff where you're just posting online and they never see your face, they never hear your voice, they never see your text, like you're just posting links at random places, you kind of have to get good at, like, you've got to get better, like you've got to get your message out. But if you're posting every day on Pinterest will get your message out. If you're posting every day on YouTube or Tumblr or wherever, their internal algorithm will get your marketing and your system out. If you want targeted marketing, then you would be better served. Like if you're gonna write an ebook, you find a Facebook group with the same overall content, and then you offer your ebook for free in those other groups. Say, hey, here's a free download. Check it out. Tell me what you think. You get an unfiltered review, and then they get to you post the reviews online. Then you get more traffic that way. Um, so it's not that you have to be an expert; it's that you just have to be better than what you are. Shift your environments regularly, and it's not spelled regularly is not spelled correctly, which doesn't really earn points with me. But we're back to what the hell does it mean? Like shift your environments regularly. Shift my environment, like get out of my house. Like I work from home all day, and I should leave the house. Um, Shift my environment that I shouldn't be online every day. Shift my environment that I should put the phone down and not worry about what's going on it. Um, you can take that a lot of different ways. Define wealth and success for yourself. I think that's good in and of itself, but I also think it's a poor metric. So when you fill out goals, you don't want nondescript, very gray area goals. In that, if I said, hey, tell me what you want to be in 15 years, and you came back and said, I want to be happy or I want to be content, those aren't specific. And what makes you happy and content is very different than what makes me happy and content. You want specific goals that are measurable. So success to you would be what? To have a business, to have this, to have that. If you want income, that's not the same thing as profit. Wealth, I think Kiyosaki defines as best. Rich is a very nondescript term because it means something different to you and me. If you look at wealth, wealth becomes how long can you survive without working? Meaning, if you quit your job today, how long could you go without working at all before you would have to work again? And if you can last a day, then you have more wealth than the average person. If you can last a week, that puts you in a different tier, a much different tier. Current credit card debt trends are, I mean, Americans are, gosh, like 40 trillion in debt to credit cards. And as of, I want to say 3 years ago, most people don't have $1,000 emergency fund. So if you have an emergency fund and you have no credit card debt, it doesn't automatically make you wealthy, but in basic terms, it makes you much better off than the bulk of America. If you can now survive without working a full day for a day or a week, now you're wealthier than most people. The key becomes how do you extend your wealth and grow it to where you don't have to work. And then have a firm stand because it becomes your brand. Have a firm stand, it becomes your brand. Back to punctuation. There ought to be a semicolon or a period in the space. I don't know what that means. I don't know what their intention is in that sentence. I think I can extrapolate, I could deduct that it just means whatever your core values are, those define who you are. But those are in existence before you start whatever business. So if you have core values as a person, you need to develop core values as a business. And then you need to stick with that because anything that impacts those core values or anything that impacts how you implement or how you follow those core values is actually taking away from so anything that pushes against you, you need to know the response before it happens. And sometimes you're not going to know everything, right? But you're going to have this core value in place, right? And someone's going to push against it, and you're going to say, hey, I don't do it that way because of this. Well, I think this. Well, that's great. That's you. I think this. We can both have different opinions, right? But if you don't know what you stand for, then anybody can come at you, and it's going to really change how you think. That would be my take. But the problem is, it's not really expressly said what they think. So I stand by what I wrote up here. It's a pretty meme. It looks cool. I'm a sucker for blue. I have at least half my closet is blue shirts in some way, shape, or form. But there's nothing here that really helps you. It doesn't give good advice. It doesn't give specific advice. It doesn't teach you anything. It just looks pretty and the math doesn't add up. No plan, no help. So thank you for the meme, but I'll pass. Let's see how to stop. There we go. So if you like my content, consider subscribing to my channel and then also head over to Facebook and join my group there called Navigate Your Finances. The link will be in the description. Just remember, you're the captain of your ship, meaning you lead your boat. You steer your boat, right? I'm happy to pull alongside you. I'm happy to advise you, but it's your ship. So you will prosper or you will fail by your own decisions. Now, in saying that, failure is not an ending if you see the big picture, right? You can see it as a failed strategy or a failed method, but at the same time, it's not a failure overall. It's more like a teaching moment. So when you fail, it's, hey, what didn't work? And let me go back and rethink this. And I'm going to base a new strategy on what I've learned and that failure, and then I'm going to keep moving forward. And if that fails, then you rethink, you analyze the data, and then you keep going. It's that's how science is supposed to work, quite honestly. Like you develop a theory, you try it, and it doesn't work. Scrap that. Go back. Develop a theory, try it, doesn't work. Scrap it, go back. Develop a theory, try it, it kind of works. How can I tweak this? And then you go back and try it again. Your success is built on perseverance and failure. It's your perseverance through everything that happens. It's also your perseverance through the failure, right? We learn by doing it. It's what kids do. When that baby starts to walk, do they get up and sprint? No, they try and then they fall down and they bump their heads on things and they fall down and they fall on their butt and they fall on their face and they fall on our pets and they fall on all this stuff. And we do our best to protect them because they're kids. But if we just held their hand the whole time, they'd never learn to do it on their own. So you hold their hand and you help them out and then you let them try and do it. Right. And they push themselves up and they keep doing it because they want to learn to walk and run and sprint. And we're doing the same thing in finances. We want to do it on our own. We want to do it on our own. Sometimes we need somebody to hold a hand. But then we get up and we try it. And if it works, amazing. And we get up, we try it, and it fails abysmally. It sucks, right? Like nobody likes to fail. It sucks. And I would say it sucks worse when you're an adult because you're more aware of things than when you're a kid. But it sucks to fail. So be it. Learn from it, process it, adapt your strategy, and then keep going. Right. But back at the beginning of this, if we're basing our strategy on all of these different memes and all these different books and all these other things, you have to get really good at filtering out all the advice you get because everybody's got an opinion. I have an opinion. I'm making this video, right? Everybody's got an opinion and you have an opinion. You have to find the best advice that lines up with what you're doing and the best advice that helps you go forward. So if you see this really pretty meme that distracts you and goes, hey, that looks neat, and then you read it, you go, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense. You go back and read it again and go, No, this really doesn't make sense at all. For me, I save this stuff because it's great content, because there is always a new financial meme. And anytime I see something new, I just add it to my board because that just gives me another video to make at a later date. And if you see something really good, which of that board on my Pinterest page, maybe 5%, maybe less, is actually solid, good advice. And that says a lot. Like I'll go back and look right now. There are 445 pins on that board and it's growing. So if I take 5% of that, that's only 22 of 445, only 22, and I would honestly say it's less than that, are actually good, solid advice. And that's pretty bad. But anybody can make a meme. Anybody can have an opinion. Anybody can give you an opinion. Doesn't mean it's good for you. So follow the people that make sense. Follow the people that give great advice. Follow the people that will help you in your journey and that will share the adventure with you, right? And not worry about the rest. Hey, that's great advice. Hey, that's bad advice. Hey, that like nobody needs that advice, right? And then factor it in, adapt your strategy if needed, and then just keep moving. So this is, I think that's everything I got. Just got to find the right page. I think that is everything I got. So if you like the content, consider subscribing to my channel. Head over to Facebook, check that out. It, you are the captain of your ship. You are the leader. Your decisions matter, right? So you have the power to change your life and you have the power to change your financial future. Many people will offer to help. 445 and growing people, plus me, will offer to help you, but only you can make the choice to do it. Only you can make the choice on who you follow. Wherever you're headed, wherever you are, your dreams are possible. Make it happen. Shock your world. This is Daniel Young signing off. I will see y'all on another video. Bye bye.